Hello and welcome to PlayStation Racer, and welcome to this video in which we're going to be heading over to Asia for the World Touring Car 700 at Autopolis. Before we do that, I'm just going to dive into the options here and make sure that we're on the hard setting that we're using for all of these World Circuit races now. The normal setting just was becoming too easy and we were just running away with the races. We've got a number of races to do at this track, the first being, as I said, the World Touring Car 700. We're going to use the BMW VGT for this one on the medium tyres. That gives us the option to potentially go to the end of the race. With regards to the setup, I've got the output adjustment to 95, the ballast to 200 and the power restrictor to 95. I'm just going to move these up just a little bit because we've moved from the soft to the medium tyres. That gives me a little bit more extra performance points to use. So I'm going to take this up to, where do we end up? 99 and 97 for those two figures. So the output adjustment is 97 and the power restrictor 99, leaving the ballast still at 200. That brings us just under the 700 pp for this particular race. And this is the World Touring Car 700 at Autopolis International Racing Course, and we've got 10 laps to go from last to first. So let's get into the race. So the first thing I'm going to do is just lean off the fuel mixture at the moment. I haven't got to worry too much about the tyres. Hopefully they're going to go all the way to the end. But the fuel mixture 5 should get us a fair way through this particular race without any trouble. I've got the radar on because I want to try and go for a clean race on this one. And I do need to be aware of the cars around me because we are going to be of a similar performance point, and I do know that the AI does tend to throw it up the inside from time to time. So that's my thinking of having the radar on rather than anything else. We can always check the other items later. So for the moment we're just trying to make our way through the slower vehicles. We overtaken 2 so far to get us up into 18th place. Need to be very careful of the Ferrari on the inside and slipstream the Corvette at the moment. So you're going to need to take this one a little bit deeper because the Ferrari is alongside us. Slid alongside us as we come out of that corner. But as we head down the hill, the Ferrari does actually tuck in behind us, which is a bit of a relief. And now we want to try and get up the inside of the Corvette. Hopefully that car will just run a little bit wide. We didn't quite have the speed, or a slight nudge into the back as we go into that corner. The Corvette slowed down just a little bit quicker than I thought it was going to. So I just had to back out of that one, let the 2 cars settle down, and now we're going to try and go around the outside of the Corvette, which we've got done before we head into the last corner. So now we're through a few of the back markers chasing down the Audi TT in front of us. I'll just take you through what I worked to be the best lap for me. Now we're on the medium tyres, or racing medium tyres, to try and get us to the end of the race. Slipstreaming the Audi TT at the moment is going to give us a bit of extra speed as we head to the 100-metre board where we buried a brake pedal down into 3rd gear, sliding around just under the braking a little bit. We don't want to slide this car around too much because we do want to maintain the tyres as much as possible. Watching for the little grey area there on the left hand side. Brake there down into 3rd gear, being hustled by the Chevrolet. Going to carry 3rd gear all the way through here. Use this as a compound corner. Down into 2nd for this one. Sometimes I used 1st for a little bit of rotation, but 2nd gear was fine there. And then up to 4th gear, and we want to try and do 4 through here. So out to the right, sweep across to the left. Just trying to pick up that curb as we go around here, and as we exit that we can get up into 5th gear. And sometimes I just tended to leave this car in 4th, sometimes just a quick dab of 5th, down into 4th, 3rd, down into 2nd for this corner. There's a little bit of tarmac on the inside of the curbing there that you can use to jump over the top. And then as you come down the hill, I'm looking for the 50-metre board and then down into 4th gear, slowing it down for this corner. There's a bit of a bump through there. I've gone a little bit deep as we pick up a little bit of the slipstream on Kawakami. 4th all the way through here. And as you come off of this curb, just down into 3rd gear, and then we've got another compound corner that you really want to treat as to. Very often I found that I could go up the inside of cars through that corner, but if they're staying with you, as the Lexus is, you just got to give them a little bit of room as you come through the latter part of that corner. Down into third for this one, and then just as you see that little bit of tarmac and then the cones, you're looking for the cones, you can get that straight and then back on the power, because you want to carry as much power down this long straight as you can. Also picking up a slipstream if you can. I've got the Mustang and the Porsche in front of me, picking up a slipstream off of both of those, getting it slowed down into third gear, and now thinking about this little gaggle of cars, 5 cars in front of us, having a little look behind just to make sure that we haven't got anybody that's going to suddenly dive bomb us. So we haven't, and we can just concentrate on trying to make our way through these cars at the moment. So the Mustang was done on the way in. The Porsche we're going to do midway through the corner. I really love that one, and then get this slowed down in second gear, trying to go around the outside of the Lamborghini. Didn't quite come off, kept my foot in though, still there, still side by side through here, both of us giving each other room, which is really good racing. Looks like we've got the Lambo done. Now getting on the back of the Toyota, we've just gone a little bit wide as we were pushed out there by the AI car a little bit, so just giving him a little bit of respect. Again, down in second gear, coming over the top, a little nudge as we come out, just to remind him that I'm there, just to remind him that I'm not going to put up with any shenanigans. So we were looking for the 50-meter board. We're going to outbrake the Toyota through there, down into fourth gear. We're going to leave it in fourth all the way through here, and that's another place done for 10th place. As we come through this corner, going to dive down into third gear. Is there going to be an opportunity to undertake the Viper on the inside? No, he's carried a little bit too much speed for us through there, but he slows down, he gets a bit out of shape. I jump across the curb, managed to get that done, no penalty, which is really, really welcome, and we did actually manage to get that move done as well to get 9th place. We're into single digits now as we come up to finish lap number 3 and start our 4th lap. Looking at the tyres, they don't look too bad. A little bit of wear on the front, the rears look pretty good. For this strategy to get us all the way to the end on this one set of tyres, we do need to just be a little bit careful that we don't slide this car around too much. The other thing I'm minded of at the moment is the hills in the distance are looking very grey. It looks very grey up in the sky, so I'm not sure whether we're going to get any rain. So again, I want to try and go as late as I can in case we get rain and I need to put some intermediate tyres on for the last few laps. So again, just trying to keep that strategy call open to us for as long as we can. Just chasing down the BMW in front of us at the moment. No real issues at the moment. This is all fairly straightforward, just watching for the braking points, the turning points, just trying to get a little bit more of the curb on that corner. Gone a little bit deeper than I would have liked to have done, but it did keep the car nicely settled, which has enabled us to get the power down and onto the back of the BMW. Oh, the Alfa Romeo nearly caught me out there. Luckily we were just looking at the right hand side and just managed to get that slowed down in time. Catching up with the Subaru in front of us really quickly now, so a quick dab of third gear. All of the AI cars tend to go a little bit wider on that corner. I tended to like to keep it a little bit tighter, and that did open up overtaking opportunities through that little complex. So long as you can catch the cars at the right time and you're ready for it, that is another of my welcome overtake opportunities. So up into fourth gear as we finish the 4th lap, and now we have got our work cut out. We've got 3rd, 2nd and 1st ahead of us, and they are quite a way down the track at the moment. 5.66 seconds the leader is away from us at the moment, although my prediction is they are likely to pit, whereas we are not going to be pitting. Well, I say we're not going to pit. We'll see how the strategy works out towards the end of this video, because there is a little bit of a change of heart, but I'll come to that a little bit later. For the moment, my strategy was all about trying to keep the car not sliding too much, look after the tyres, look after the fuel, upshifting early for fuel economy, and just try and bring this car home. At this point, I don't seem to be looking at the fuel. I think I've probably made the decision that we will get to the end on fuel position 5 with the early upshifts that we're doing to save fuel. You can see there as I'm changing gear, pretty much halfway up the rev range on this BMW VGT works really well. Don't tend to lose too much power and speed, but it does help you to save an awful lot on the fuel economy. Just got a little bit of the back end a little bit light just through there. Using the curb through here, again down in the third gear. Is the Suzuki going to go out wide? Yes it is, so we'll nip up the inside, just use all of that curb, all of this curb, drift out to the right hand side, and then just keep your foot in through here. Third gear, up into fourth briefly, down into third as we go around here, so we can run this curb all the way around, and as soon as you see those curbs, get the car straightened up into fourth gear. So that's us up into third place now. We can see second and first in front of us, which is really useful, around about 2 seconds away from us, so we are catching them quite nicely. Going to brake at the just after the 100-meter board for that first corner. Especially as the tyres start to wear, I tended to bring my braking just back a little bit more and a little bit more. I should have said on the first corner, because you're not actually up to full power, I tended to brake down into third gear on the skid mark that's there. There's a real black line, and I tended to run that black line all the way to the corner on the brakes and getting down into third gear. But that was only on the very first lap. Otherwise, it was just after the 100-meter board, and then as the tyres started to wear, we tended to bring that back. So we're on lap 6 at the moment, chasing down Gallo in second place. And you'll notice now that we are pushing a little bit more, that the front tyres are wearing just a little bit. We're coming up for around about, we're just over a third, coming up for half worn on the left hand side front. The left hand tyre takes an awful lot of punishment around here, especially this corner. If you are braking down into the corner, then you are going to be putting all of the weight of the car onto that corner. Now the other thing, I've flicked across to the weather radar just to have a little look, because we got some nice blue sky and puffy white clouds in one side, and looking at the radar, we've got some rain coming in from the east. So we have got to think about tyres and whether we are going to need to dive in for intermediates at some point. The sky itself isn't looking too bad right now. Or nearly followed the Toyota into the pit there. I was leading up to that point, I had been thinking, am I going to follow in the second and third place drivers, or just follow them around, and then if they pit, I'll do the same. But with this weather on the radar, I don't really want to pit at this point and then have to come in for intermediate. So at the very last moment, I did change my mind and backed out of the pit stop. And I just want to now try and get around about a 20-second lead on Haywood behind, so that if I do have to stop, hopefully we can get out in front. At this point, as well as being concerned about the weather, which does actually seem to be clearing at the moment, I was also very aware that the car was beginning to slide around a lot more. Even though I was trying not to slide it, I was tending to find that I didn't have the braking performance I had earlier, and also the car was sliding around through and the mid corners and coming out of the corners. That's just going to chew up the tyres even more, but I did want to try and continue to push on to build that pit stop window if we could get it. Again, going a little bit deep there on the marbles as well, which didn't help. But that could have been a little bit of the marbles, it could also have been the tyres. So we just really need to keep on pushing and seeing if we can get that margin up to Haywood and Solis in second and third, just in case that we do need to pit. Those two cars seem to be running pretty closely on the track together, so if we did come out behind them, there's a good chance that we're going to need to have two cars to overtake. Now I did decide to pull in to the pits. The car was sliding around a little bit. At 16, nearly 17 seconds, I was hoping that that would be enough to do a very quick pit stop. The diamond is pretty much where we are with the fuel. so I might just take a very small amount of fuel. You can see the cursor hanging over the don't fuel there. We didn't actually push the button. Hayward, Solis and Manango came in behind us, which was really good, all on hard tyres. We put another set of mediums on. Not quite sure what tyres they're going to be staying on, but we have managed to get out ahead of Kokubun and Yamanaka in second and third. But looking at the track map, they are pretty close, and looking at the timing screen, they are 4 seconds behind us. So doing the pit stop, hopefully that has given us some better tyres as we finish up this race, because the mediums that we'd had on from the beginning of the race were definitely beginning to slide around and wear. I was concerned about overshooting the corner and putting it in the gravel, or worse, spinning, and then having a struggle towards the end of the race trying to get past the leaders that were moving pretty quickly, especially if I was going to be on very worn tyres, even flat spotted tyres, when they were on new tyres. And although they came in on hards, I'm not sure whether they went out on hards or whether they've opted for the mediums, or maybe even softs this late in the race. So with the racing mediums on my car, I knew it was about middle of the road, got a little bit deep there as we're starting to push, but I knew that my tyres were a little bit middle of the road, and I had a good chance of managing to increase the gap, even if I would hope to have increased the gap, to be quite honest. It may well be that we just maintain the gap, but increasing it was where I was at. I'd like to have got up to 10 seconds just to give me a little bit of a cushion by this point. But as we finish lap number 8 and we go into lap number 9, we are actually now 9.5 seconds ahead of the second place runner. And a quick look at the map shows that Yamanaka in third seems to have fallen back into the clutches of Gallo. In fact, that car pits, Kokubun now pits, he was on hards as well. So that has made life a little bit easier. We're back out to 14 seconds, but looking at the weather radar, you can just see the sky has gone grey again. We are in the midst of a very light rain shower. So we need to keep these tyres as hot as possible, keep them working as much as possible, and just make sure that we can bring this home without spinning it. We are actually out to 16 seconds now, and we seem to be making up time on the cars behind. So whether they are in a little bit of a fight of their own, or whether Yamanaka and Gallo have just slowed up a little bit, I'm not quite sure, but that is giving me the opportunity just to build this gap. As you can see, I've just moved the fuel map to 4 just to give myself a little bit more speed through here, just to build up a little bit more. We got 3.4 laps of fuel when we've got just over 1 lap to do, so we could actually even take the power up a little bit more, but we've gone a little bit wide. There is my first mistake of the race, gone a little bit wide. We've got dirty tyres now that we're going to need to be careful of. That is going to enable the cars behind to close that gap significantly. Interestingly, the tyres look good, so I think that was maybe just a lack of concentration. I don't remember that I was looking at the power gauge. Maybe I was, but just needed to settle down now as we go into the first lap. We've gone full lean now. Basically, the reasoning for that was where I've been increasing the power. Obviously, the car dynamics are slightly different, and I've gone full lean now just so that we don't have any issues, and especially with so many cars pitting right now, really we only need to worry about Gallo and Blazon behind us, and we've now got a nice 15-second gap to the cars behind. So just taking it easy as we close out this race. It's only those 2 cars really behind us. The rest are only just ending the pit straight. so quite a fair way to go. We're not going to catch the car in front to lap them, which would have been nice, but that's not going to happen for now. I'm just settling in with the fuel map on lean and just taking it nice and easy. So as we come down this hill, we're looking for the 50-meter board and into 4th gear. Not even running the curbs aggressively right now. Just want to keep the car nice and smooth, just getting out on the marbles a little bit there. Just trying to keep the car nice and smooth, not taking any chances. We just need to bring ourselves around this little compound curve in 3rd gear, over the top, 3rd gear through this one. Then a little run up into 4th gear and then back down into 3rd as we run around the last corner. And as we see those cones, we just get the car straightened up into 4th gear, and then it is just a straight run to the line. So the strategy was a little bit different. We did pit for a new set of tyres, a little bit of a precaution. Could probably have taken them all the way to the end of the lap, but with the weather around the circuit and the other cars pitting, I really came in for the second set of mediums just as a precaution and to make sure that we were able to get to the lap without too many problems. I didn't get the clean race bonus, unfortunately. There were 1 or 2 bangs on the way around, which was a little bit unfortunate, but nevertheless, that was a nice easy win in this BMW VGT for this World Touring Car 700 at Autopolis. I shared with you my setup and my strategy. The setup's slightly different to my normal grinding setup. We moved from the soft to the medium tyres, which enabled us just to take the performance values up just slightly. That helped an awful lot. And then it was just a case of working our way through the back markers, watching the weather, getting up into the front, and then just keeping our options open with regards to the strategy. So I hope you liked this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please hit the like button, and if you're new around here, please hit the subscribe button. I would be very, very grateful if you could support me with a subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, but it means an awful lot to me. And if you're a current subscriber, thank you ever so much for continuing to support my channel, and I'll see you again on another one coming very soon. For now, take care. Bye bye.